Hi, it's Janelle Evans, and I wanted to share with you excerpts of a presentation that I made to a group last week. And the topic was 5 things that you can focus on to feel better now. As I record this, it's about week 12 that we're all navigating our way through COVID-19 and all of the massive disruptions and impacts of having this shared experience. And I realize that people are really getting weary, even with the announcements of reopenings. For some people, that has created even additional layers of stress. And so I thought it was very timely that I talk about this to a group last week, and I wanted to share part of that with you all here. The problem is that, we are all facing these unprecedented circumstances that we didn't ask to be a part of. We didn't create it, and here we are. And so the thing that we do have a choice about is how we respond to what is going on and what will continue to go on probably for our summer and maybe into the fall. No one really knows. We know that a lot of progress is being made to try to put an end to this experience, but we are where we are, and none of us really know the final end point of this. So I want to just suggest a few things that I think if you can focus on, going to help you feel better now, as well as when we get to the other side of this pandemic. Instead of feeling helpless and overwhelmed all the time, I think it's healthier for us to try to shift our focus to other things. And I'm not dismissing in any way that this is hard, but I do believe that we have the responsibility to take care of our emotional and mental health, which is going to help us take care of our physical health. It's a lot of things do feel out of our control, but at the end of the day, we still get to choose how we show up, how we show our family and friends who we are in this experience. So it's all about how we choose to respond to what is going on. So I want to suggest 5 things that I know will help you feel better as we navigate our way. All right, the first thing is to focus on social interactions. And this is not about your level of introversion or extroversion. This is about simply connecting, even with just 1 or 2 other people. And so we really have to think differently about how to connect, because connecting is important to our psychological health. When we feel lonely and isolated, that can really suppress our immune system. And I can't think of a time when we've all needed probably the strongest, most robust immune system ever, because we're dealing with a virus that's highly contagious. So just know that, maybe we have to step up our game about how do I connect with people. And fortunately, we have technology like FaceTime on our phones, or Zoom that I'm using right now to record this. And we can get really creative in how we use that as a tool to be close to people, but not, we can still keep our social distance, is what I'm trying to say. So we can still be socially interactive without being socially isolated. I have a client, I know that every day she does an online yoga class with her adult daughters who live in other parts of the country. So they connect through that activity and using that technology. Later on today, I'm doing a family Zoom with my brother and his kids, and it's a way for us to stay like we're still connected and going through this and add some levity to the experience at the same time. You can do games, you can do scavenger hunts, all kinds of things using this technology. The second thing to focus on is on your blessings. We know from research that if we can stay in a higher state of gratitude for all that is right in our life, versus focusing on what feels off and odd and awkward and not the same, that also is going to boost our immune system. So number 1, it's going to help you on a physical level. And 2, it's going to help you on an emotional, mental level as well. Because just feeling those things, it's going to help normalize your blood pressure. It's going to help you feel more optimistic. That's going to help you feel happier and less alone and less isolated. There was a study done that even if you did something as simple as write down 3 things in the morning and 3 things at night that you're truly grateful for, that could shift your mood within days. And we all want to stay in the most positive state of mind, mood, everything right now. Why? Because we're going to be able to make better decisions, better choices. Where do we feel safe going out during this time? Again, it's about week 12 across the United States and other parts of the world. Things are beginning to open up. It's not the same state to state, even county to county. So it's very confusing, and that can create a lot of anxiety for people. But focus on what is right in your life. It can get really simple. And I think for a lot of people during this time, they become reacquainted with what really, really matters in their life and what they really need versus what they thought that they needed. And they've now turned out to be quite unnecessary. The third thing to focus on is other people. Yeah, focusing on other people helps you feel better and actually helps you be healthier. There were two professors, Mike Norton and Liz Dunn, who wrote a book about money and happiness and how really the simple act of spending your time or resources like money on others really boosts your well-being even more than if you spend it on yourself. The name of that book is Happy Money, The Science of Happier Spending. I think this is fantastic. So when we have to, stay inside and feel like we're not able to maybe help people that we know need help, maybe they're ill, maybe they're really struggling emotionally with the, social distancing, that it can be frustrating for us who have the time and resources and money, we want to help them. So by doing that and finding creative ways like running errands for them or food shopping for them or having meals or other things sent to them in their home can be a great thing for us to do for other people, and also lifts our spirits and helps us feel better. And that's what we're all trying to do right now. It's a great win-win. It supercharges your well-being to do for other people. Excuse me. Number 4, focus on what you control and surrender to the rest. I have to get a drink of water, excuse me. When we started 2020 this year, I picked 2 words, and they happened to be surrender and trust. And I would have had no idea how appropriate those words and how meaningful they would be to me now with going through the COVID-19. Because the more I surrender, the happier I feel. I mean, we all have to give ourselves a little extra grace right now. This is a hard circumstance. Nothing really feels normal, right? It's different, it's odd, it's awkward. And if you haven't let go of perfectionism already, I hope you will choose this time to do that, because, perfectionism is the thief of joy. And so let things go. Be very clear on what you totally control anymore and what maybe you have to be in a position of responding to. Maybe that team project that your team at work has been working remotely turned in wasn't, an A++, but maybe it was a B++. That's okay right now. Give yourself some grace. Be compassionate with yourself and other people, because we need it more than ever. We're all doing our best right now. And that project was probably okay. So just let go. Don't torture yourself. Just surrender to the reality that everything is more challenging to do right now. Even if you are going out a little bit, it's still challenging. Yeah, even keeping food in our refrigerator is still a major effort. So we're not out of this yet, even if you live in a state where you've got a lot more freedom. This is still a very hard circumstance because we're adjusting to the reopening as well. And on top of this, we've all had to accept major disappointments with the cancellations of graduations here, almost June, bar mitzvahs, weddings, special events, and that has been really hard. But we didn't control those things. They had to be canceled to keep people safe. And it is what it is. And the sooner that we can come to terms with that we can't control those things, and yes, we hope they'll be rescheduled, we'll have that to look forward to, the less tormented you'll be. So, and I look at these things as temporary disruptions and temporary disappointments, because this situation, this circumstance that we're in will come to an end. And notice I said temporary disruptions, temporary disappointments, because we can probably put some of those fun events back on our calendar, which brings me to my fifth and final thing to focus on, and that is your future. And I am a mindfulness and meditation teacher to primarily leaders and corporations, and I'm a huge advocate for being in the moment of your life. And during this time, I also find that it's very valuable to be imagining what we have to look forward to. Maybe some of those events that we were so disappointed that got canceled will be on our calendar in the fall or towards the end of 2020. Start dreaming about those things. That can just uplift you. Just imagine how happy you're going to feel when you actually get to hug people again and get to be in the presence of other people. I think a lot of us might have taken handshaking and hugging and being with people in groups for granted, right? Because it was something we always did. Well, that is going to change. And now we're probably all going to have a lot more interest in making the effort to drive, to go, to be together because we haven't been able to do that. So do your research now about your next trip. Maybe you plan it for 2021. Maybe you want to go overseas if you live in the States. Start doing your research now. I think there's a lot to the fact that the anticipation of events and travel is almost as good as sometimes the experience. So if you just take that on as a couple of fun projects to work on, that's just going to make you feel better, make you feel more in control, up-level your energy, help you feel more optimistic. And yes, we all need things to look forward to in our future. Hey, another thing in that category of your future is maybe this pandemic has given you time to pause and think about your career. Maybe you want to do something very different, or maybe you want to change jobs. I can't think of a better time to try to learn new skills and really kind of up-level some part of your toolkit that you feel like you need for those opportunities, so that when you have an opportunity to actually apply or to interview more deeply or more thoroughly, perhaps when things are not as restricted, that you will be ready to do that. And that's very fun and very exciting to look forward to. So, I also understand, guys, in closing, that we're going to have our moments where this just overwhelms us and we feel sad and we can almost feel ourselves slipping a little bit into depression. And when you feel that, I want you to acknowledge it, but I don't want you to marinate in it. Just feel it, name it, observe it, and know it's normal to feel the whole range of emotions, maybe even more of a roller coaster right now because of the stress that this pandemic has created. So when you acknowledge it, just do that and tell yourself, I'm not happy, I feel sad, and I'm going to do something right now intentional to change my energy. I'm going to focus on all the things that are right in my life. Matter of fact, let's just recap. I'm going to focus on some social interactions. I'm going to initiate contact with somebody. If it's just calling them or scheduling a Zoom or doing something online together or just a FaceTime video, I'm going to do it. Second thing, focus on your blessings. That's going to remind you of everything that is good and right still in your life. Focus on other people. We've got the research that backs it up. You do for others, it up-levels your well-being. Number 4, focus on what you control and surrender to the rest. And 5, focus on your future. So just doing those things are going to help you feel much, much better right now in the middle of this pandemic. And then when we're on the other side, you will already be ahead of your emotional state. I'd like to close my share with you today with a quote from Vivian Green, who is a British writer and ironically the world's foremost expert on doll houses. Just a tidbit there. And she said this: life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. I hope by sharing these 5 things for you to focus on helps you feel like you can dance a little more in the rain. This too shall pass. Hang in there. Take care.